Emma had always believed in fairy tales, the kind where hard work and good intentions guaranteed a happy ending. But life had a crueler, more cunning script for her that involved shattered dreams, heartbreak, and a twist she never saw coming. The night her business collapsed, Emma sat in the darkness of her tiny apartment, the only light coming from the dim glow of her laptop screen. The email was clear. Her last investor had pulled out. Her dream, the one she had sacrificed everything for, was over. Her best friend Ava had been calling her all evening, but Emma had ignored it. She didn't want to talk, didn't want to hear. "It's going to be okay." Because it wasn't. It was a disaster. Finally, after the sixth call, she answered with a whisper. "I lost everything." "No, you didn't," Ava said firmly. "You lost money. You lost a business, but you are still here." Emma let out a bitter laugh. "And what am I supposed to do now? Start over? Be one of those motivational stories about how failure leads to success?" "Yes," Ava shot back, "because you either learn from this or you let it bury you." Emma didn't reply, but the words stuck with her. Over the next few months, she clawed her way out of despair. She dissected her mistakes like a crime scene, learning where she had gone wrong. Then, with trembling hands, she dared to try again. This time, she was smarter. This time, she understood the battlefield. And this time, she succeeded. But just when she thought she had finally conquered failure, life threw another punch, one she never could have prepared for. Emma had barely caught her breath from her business success when the news came. Her mother had been diagnosed with a terminal illness. "I don't want you to worry," her mother had said over the phone, her voice too steady, too controlled. "I've lived a good life." Emma felt her stomach drop. "No, we'll find a way. We'll get the best doctors." "Honey," her mother interrupted gently, "not everything can be fixed." Emma refused to accept that. She threw herself into research, appointments, and second opinions, but nothing changed the inevitable. The strongest woman she had ever known was fading, and there was nothing she could do about it. One evening, as she sat beside her mother's bed, her mother took her hand. "You remind me of the stars," she murmured. Emma frowned. "What?" "Stars don't shine despite the darkness. They shine because of it." Emma swallowed the lump in her throat. "I don't feel like I'm shining. I feel like I'm breaking." Her mother gave her a knowing smile. "And from the cracks, light gets in." When the time finally came, Emma was shattered. But in the wreckage of her grief, she remembered her mother's words. And slowly, painfully, she found ways to heal, not by forgetting, but by honoring. She used her pain to help others. She started speaking about resilience, about the strength found in struggle. And in doing so, she found something she never expected: peace. Emma had once viewed failure as an unbearable weight, something that defined a person's worth. But now, she understood that failure was the best teacher life could offer. It was not the opposite of success. It was part of it. Failure reveals the cracks in our plans, the weaknesses in our knowledge, and the gaps in our courage. Without failure, there is no refinement, no growth. Every stumble teaches us something. Every fall gives us a blueprint for how to rise. The truth is, we fail not because we are incapable, but because we are learning. No great achievement has ever been accomplished without a trail of mistakes behind it. The reason we fail before we succeed is that mastery is built through repetition, through trial and error. A child learning to walk falls hundreds of times before taking their first confident step. An artist creates 100 failed sketches before producing a masterpiece. And so it is with life. Every failure is a stepping stone, a lesson carved into our experience that shapes us into who we are meant to become. What defines us is not the fall itself, but whether we choose to stand back up. Years later, standing on the stage of a packed auditorium, Emma shared her story. She spoke about failure, about loss, about the lessons the universe had thrown at her like cruel riddles. And at the end, she said, "I thought I had lost everything, twice. But now I see I was only being shaped into who I was meant to be." The crowd erupted into applause, but Emma barely heard it. Her eyes had locked onto a familiar face in the back of the room, one she hadn't seen in years. Her best friend, Ava. After the speech, Ava approached her, a smirk on her lips. "Told you failure wasn't the end." Emma laughed through her tears and hugged her. "You were right, and the stars, they do shine brighter in the dark." Ava winked. "They always do." And just like that, Emma realized the story she thought was a tragedy had always been a story of survival, a story of light finding its way through the cracks, a story that, in the end, had been worth telling. Emma's story teaches us that failure and adversity are not the end. They are stepping stones to growth and success. 1. Failure is a teacher, not a dead end. Every mistake reveals weaknesses, refines skills, and brings us closer to success. True achievement comes from persistence and learning from setbacks. 2. Adversity builds strength. Hard times force us to grow in ways comfort never will. Emma's struggles, both in business and personal loss, taught her resilience, adaptability, and emotional strength. 3. Perspective shapes reality. Emma once saw failure as defeat, but later understood it was shaping her into the person she was meant to be. The darkest moments often lead to the brightest breakthroughs. 4. Light shines through the cracks. Pain, loss, and failure don't break us. They open us up to transformation. Like Emma's mother said, stars shine because of the darkness, not despite it. 5. Survival becomes a story worth telling. Every hardship has meaning if we use it to grow, help others, and move forward. Emma's journey proves that our struggles don't define us. Our response to them does.